Hello. We are here with the real stuff.
Woo!
The real things for the realtors by realtors. And some guys that are not necessarily realtors. I'm here, I'm Augusto Alagia with my co-host Jay Granieri and with our guest,
Special guest.
amazing guest, Heather Kaminsky.
Welcome to episode 2.
Oh my God, I'm so lucky. Look at me getting episode number 2.
Episode number 2, guys. We're gonna get it.
I mean, we're high production over here. We got
I don't know.
soundtracks. We got clapping.
Oh, I'm so worried if I'm episode number
This
2.
is
The poor people.
great. This is great.
So, okay, guys, so that's very amazing to have you here. Very pleased to have you here,
Thank you.
Heather. And of course, my buddy,
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
If there is someone real in the real
Man,
industry of the realtors, it's him, right? With his beautiful hair,
I've
his
actually
beautiful t-shirt.
Wait, is that real?
I
You
prettied
wanna talk
myself
about
up.
I
real?
don't know. I think I'm more here bold, right?
And the sad thing is I didn't pretty myself up. I'm like in my
I
flip
promised I
flops.
wouldn't shave anymore. That was my real motion for this podcast. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So, guys, we have Heather. She's one of the most influential people here in Fort Lauderdale right now because
agree.
of the magazine,
I
right?
agree.
Wow, I
Yes.
feel so honored.
Tell me a little
I'm
bit
a little
more.
like kind of,
This is a
I
big
don't
deal.
know, a little embarrassed.
You are a big deal, even if you don't know it.
I
Yeah.
know, I didn't realize it. I guess, we kind of created a buzz,
Yeah.
thank God, to real producers.
Yes, that's
I guess I
tell
have to thank Remington Ramsey for that, who started it
Is that
in
right?
Indianapolis in
Okay.
2015.
I was always wondering where it kind of came from.
Yeah, so we're young. So it started in 2015 in Indianapolis. And the reason why it started is how do you get in front of the most influential real estate agents?
Yeah.
You have all these people that want to be in front of him. And really, he was a Cutco guy. And he would spend all this money to go to the real estate, meetings or go to their offices. But the big heavy hitters were never there.
Interesting.
Or you'd go to these events and buy the table.
Right.
And no one wanted to come by the table.
Right.
No one wants to talk. You're not one of those that's going to talk these luxury agents or people who are not even luxury agents, but people that are doing 100 deals a year.
Right.
The people
There's a
that
big
are-
difference, right? The difference between just luxury or people doing high volume.
That's what's really interesting
Yeah.
is I get to see the luxury and the high volume.
Right.
So when you pull my list, it's totally crazy because I have those that might do 24 deals a year,
Yeah.
but their average is 6 million.
Interesting.
Okay. And then you have someone, like the number one in South Florida
Right.
is Lori Reeder.
Right.
But her and her team do 500 deals a year.
Crazy amount.
So, but their average
Super
price
team.
point,
Super team.
right? But their average price point is 400,000.
Right.
So it depends. Are you doing quantity or quality? But that's their difference between quantity and quality because of price point,
But as long as the volume's high, they're still on kind of the same level.
Or even-
They're all producers.
right? Or even
Yeah.
they're even better.
Yeah.
You never know because it all just depends.
Interesting.
And I've talked to different people, and I'll see you're different people, and some will be like, "Oh my God, I love it," or there's so many people that just want to do luxury. I just want to do luxury.
Right.
I'm like, not everyone is made for luxury. It just isn't their natural talent. I mean, I hate to say it, but
Well, that's a great point that you bring up too. Like one of the things I really think is interesting about your space is that you come across and you're not a licensed real estate agent.
I actually am in California.
Oh, in California. Okay. How long has it been since you practiced real estate?
So it's actually been only 3 years, but my real estate, I've never been residential.
Okay.
I was always commercial.
Okay.
So, and I always did retail leasing across the whole country.
Got it.
So it's not even been 3 years. It's been less than that. But I did all the real estate for Zara, BCBG, Le Creuset, all of the top people at the super regional malls, the super outlet malls, Sawgrass Mills,
it.
Aventura, all of that. So I never did any residential.
So when you jumped into this residential real estate space, this was like a whole new world.
Totally brand new. The only thing I knew about residential was I bought my own house. And I had to take the test because I took my test in California. And not one single thing on that test has to do with commercial.
Interesting.
Not
So you went from
one
like
thing.
warehouses to like Chanel bags like overnight, basically.
Well, no, I was actually doing more Chanel bags
Okay.
to dealing with the average day consumer.
Right,
So I was dealing with big corporations. Now I'm dealing with the everyday person, which is a lot different.
Yeah. But your perspective, which I think is really cool, is that you see agents from in some areas you see them. I mean, I'm sure you've come across agents that weren't at the top producer level and you've watched them grow into a space as well too, which I think, and I'd love to hear maybe some of your thoughts on
it's
that
actually
perspective.
Kind of cool. So you have some of these people like, oh, I want to be a luxury agent. I want to, and I always tell everyone, if you want to be a luxury agent, go to someone like you, a team,
Right?
Because you can't just jump into it unless, don't get me wrong, unless your husband's made of tons of money,
Right.
and he has all his best friends that are going to use you.
Or mom and dad were real estate agents and
Exactly.
kind of hand you the empire as well too. Yeah,
That's totally true. Or your husband is the number one yacht broker.
Yeah.
Or your husband is the number one builder.
Interesting.
Or your wife is the number one builder. You know, that's okay. But that's not everyone's life. It's not true.
Yeah.
But luxury is a lot different.
Yeah.
Nowadays, or the last few years until I would say August, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything in luxury was going quicker. But in the past, luxury takes a long time to get a deal done. And you have to spend a lot more money to make money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not like a $12 million house. It's just I want that $12 million house.
Well, that's what fascinates me right now is that the olds, if you take circa COVID, go back, 5 years, maybe 10 years, you were considered a luxury agent if you were selling $1 million home.
Yes. 100%.
And in today's market, like I've got agents on my team that are rolling out with $10 million homes, and I just shaking my head like they haven't sold one piece of property in their life, and they're pulling a $10 million listing. I don't know how the perspective is just bananas right now.
And it also takes more patience.
Yeah.
I would say there's difference between grinders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's people that just want to do deals and get them grinding.
Right.
And those are great.
That's like the Lori Readers of the world, like the ones that just popping out, $500,000 deals, but 100 of them.
Right. But then there's also people in like where I live in my neighborhood. He's one of the top in the area because he farms an area so well.
Yeah.
And knows it. And that's like Whitney Dutton, like knows my area and he knows everything going on. And that's and he does over 100 deals a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's because
Whitney's a grinder. He is a grinder.
He's a grinder.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And and then I'm talking to him. He's like, "Oh, I'd love to be a luxury. That'd be great, Heather. I could do, 2 houses for my 100." But no, in reality, there's not that many out there. When we looked at it, I don't think I have those numbers. But something different came up this year that we had the numbers. Mm-hmm. And the single family homes used to be way more down here bought by cash.
Yeah.
But I think it was I might be off by numbers a little bit, but I think it was 16,000 homes in 2022 that were bought in Broward County.
Okay.
Only about 3,800 were bought by cash.
Interesting. So
if you think of that, think of how many luxury. That's single family homes. Now the condos were about 40 to 50, about 50% cash.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And have been changed, right? So how about right now with all the increase in the interest rate? What do you think?
I think actually it's different, and I think Jay's more like it. I think those cash buyers are also not around as much because your Airbnb is different.
Yeah, your model's different for sure.
Your model is 100% different, and the rents and the price points aren't there. Anything in that $600,000 level is going.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
And it's tough to find it too,
and you can't find it.
Yeah, it's a hard.
So I think that's not. I don't think that's affecting the interest rates right now because anyone who needs that, needs the financing, is going to do it.
Yeah.
And there's so many more products out there.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, that's what's great. My partners tell me all these cool products that you might have a 6% interest rate, but you can buy it down. So for example, my house, I bought with a 3% interest rate.
Yeah.
They can actually do up to my interest rate. They can take over my rate. They can take over my loan and then just do the rest of it.
It's great. Assume the mortgage.
Right. They can totally just assume my mortgage and then pay me on the other money I would make on it if I sold.
Right. Certainly right now, obviously the market's bananas, and that's part of the reason why we want to talk to you as well too, because you've kind of got, I think you kind of play both hats. You've got this great knowledge of market, but what I'd like to go back a little bit.
Yeah, please.
I want to know more about you with the magazine because, I'm just curious when I met you and you were really kind of getting this thing rolling.
When you met me, there was nothing. I brought this from scratch. Yeah. There was 0.
And in a world of, listen, let's just face it, there's a lot of different types of media. Obviously podcasting is kind of new to, the last couple of years, But you keep going back. Social media was there, but you were even kind of like before the cusp of really the explosion of social media, and at that time, print was really the pinnacle of really exposure. So you had a lot of people in my profession that were looking for outlets of ways to market themselves, ways to market their properties. But your magazine's a different concept than just your normal Venice magazine where you get to show the lifestyle of things. You're really focused and centered on adding value back to the real estate community. And I think that's an important kind of thing
That's
to bring
exactly
up.
what we are. We're hyper-focused B2B. So we're a business-to-business magazine. We're a trade magazine.
Okay.
And people don't understand everything we do is 100% free for the real estate agents.
That's pretty amazing. So,
So
explain
we're
that
the
to us. Tell us all about that.
So here's what everyone doesn't understand. These real estate agents get called constantly. How many times have you been called a day? How can you help me?
Yep.
Or we want money from you. We want you to do this.
Right.
What can you do?
All
What
the
can you
time.
do? I'm the one that's calling, hey, I got something for free. They're like, excuse me? No, you don't. Hang up the
Right.
phone. They think I'm kidding. No, it really did happen to me. Trust me, it happened to me. And then finally they realized, no, ours is all about third-party validation for
Okay.
the top real estate agents. We're here to validate what you do and to help you keep those connections and build connections. And I'm a connector. I love it. I love putting people together.
Right.
That's kind of, if I could just do that all day long, I always joked I would get a penny for everyone I put together. I'd be in one of those $12 million homes too. So can someone please do that for me?
If you're listening, please help her.
Or just set me up with that $12 million husband. That's fine
there
too.
It is, there it is. She is single. She is single.
We can just put me with him. So that is what this was really about, is to make sure, because you guys don't really get involved. So with each other, you know, you really don't get to interact. And,
Collaborate.
right.
Which is
And
huge.
Major. And people are like, well, why do I want to connect with another agent? I go, hold on one second. Let me tell you, when I was in commercial real estate, if I did not have a relationship with that person wasn't picking up my phone call.
Yeah.
And I'm
That's a
sorry.
great point, Heather. When I first started in real estate, there was like this anti-collaboration kind of act amongst realtors, and it was very competitive. Well, it still was competitive, but there was this sort of this, arm's length, situation, arm's length transaction that people did not want to work together. They were the enemy.
Yeah.
And you're right. The thing that really interests me about your model with this is, in every event that I've ever been to, like, you are all about befriending each other, how to work with each other. And I think that's really cool. I think that's really special.
And that's what I found doing everything I did in retail real estate for almost 20 years is if I knew anyone, I could pick up the phone. It's all about relationships. I wish people understood
So true.
the relationships are the new currency.
Yeah.
These people might think Instagram and all this. Well, these millennials have something coming for them. Because if you can't talk to someone face to face,
Right.
even like we are doing now, they're still not doing this.
Yeah.
They're talking via their phone or whatever, text. And let me tell you how many texts you have that come through
Right.
that you totally misconstrued.
Yeah.
And every relationship I've had, I've been able to get deals done because I can literally sit to your face and say, I'm sorry, no way in hell can I do that.
Yeah. I mean, I've called you before to connect with another agent that I needed to get a deal done with too before. So, I mean, you're like the operator, amongst the real estate community, which is cool. Your magazine, obviously everybody wants to be part of the magazine. Let's face it, right? I mean, we're real estate agents. Who doesn't want to have their name or,
That's the key. Real estate agents love seeing their name in
we
lights.
love
They want to see their name in
attention.
print and they
Yes,
want to see themselves.
yes,
And then there's
yes.
me and my photographer. She's like, Heather, we got to do an article on you. And I'm like, oh, no. I don't need any pictures,
The behind
especially
the
until I
scenes.
lose 100 pounds. But okay.
So you've got this, you got the keys to the castle when it comes to, glorifying real estate agents. But not everybody gets to go through that door.
Nope.
So there's qualifiers.
Yep.
And I think you alluded to that earlier. They got to, transactionally or volume. What are some of those qualifiers?
So it's so interesting because this will actually help you with the market too. So my first year doing this, my list was based off basically people that did to make the list, you had to do over 6 million
Okay.
sales. The next year was 6.7.
Got it.
The next year was 10 because of how crazy the market was.
Right.
This year just went down to 9 and we went down to 8.9.
Oh, interesting.
So there was less volume last year.
Right. So
Because of what
your
happened.
magazine's following the trends, which is interesting. Okay.
So that's really interesting to watch. And it's following what happened is, as you know, there wasn't as much inventory down here in Florida.
Correct.
And we had everything kind of, I started getting calls in June from the real estate agents last year.
Right.
Are you seeing this, Heather? Please tell me it's not only me. Like, am I the only one? Or, and I'm sure you're the same way.
I feel like you were kind of like a priest.
Yeah.
I was.
Where agents were having
God.
confessionals with you, but nobody else knew what was going on. So yeah,
I'm the Rebbe.
Yeah. Yes.
The
yes.
Jewish-
Yes.
the
There we go.
rabbi, but
There he
like the
goes.
rabbi's wife, but
I
I'm
love
not
it.
married to one.
I love it.
But that is exactly
Yeah.
what it was like. But everyone just wanted to come and they're like, are you hearing it? Because a lot of you agents didn't want to be like, oh, I'm doing bad. Right. That is not what you will see on social media.
Don't want to admit it to each other.
You never see the negative. Yes. I mean, and then I have some friends who do only negative on social media. I'm like, hold on. Let's not just be Debbie Downer.
Right.
There has to be a middle. Mm-hmm. But all this positive, all I kept seeing, my freaking feed. I wanted to kill somebody for so long because I had so many real estate agents. All it was, I did this deal. I did this deal. This much over asking. 75 people came to my open house. This.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
If I see one more of those mothers,
yeah.
I'm going to hurt somebody. No, really. I was like, how can I get this off?
The reality of the situation is everybody was getting that, but of course, anybody that put it out there, it looked like they're the shining knight of real estate. Yeah.
That was what was crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that makes you different?
I know.
Than every Joe, Schmo, and Harry?
I might have been guilty of it once or twice, but no more than that.
Now, I don't mind if you said I had this listing and all that stuff. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh my God, if I see another one of these,
Right.
I'm going to go crazy.
So to enter through your door, we're talking about, and I love that you keep track of the market. You're not like this inflated, ego type, architect for your magazine where they're only going to talk to like the 20 million now. Like you really you really care about, and that's what I think that's really cool. It's like you really care about the agent.
Well, and then the other thing we have that's really amazing is we have rising stars.
So tell us a little bit of that, because I know there's some different features in the magazine. I think it's important to kind of highlight that.
So we always have some rising stars. So those are up and comers. So those are people that have only been in the industry, 3-4 years.
Yeah.
That are starting, and they're not at the 6 millions yet, but a couple million here and there. But they have, or they're on a team, and they're starting, and they just did.
So
3-4 million.
what are qualifiers for them that you kind of identify?
Usually, it's someone. I mean, if they've been only in the business 1 year and they've already done 3 million, they're right there. Okay. Obviously,
so a number. Okay.
Yeah, and it's based also on referrals. It's on nominations.
Okay.
So it's also someone from a team, that's on a high volume team is like, look, Heather, I have this girl that's crushing it. She's been in the business 2 years. She ain't going anywhere.
Right.
She's just building up, and it's great. And other agents like to meet her. We also start the younger crowd, which is really down here is really hard to find. I don't know if you noticed that.
Interesting.
But it's really hard to find agents younger than 35.
Really?
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Are young professional networks are not reaching out?
No, well, they're reaching out, but they're not doing the volume.
And why do you think that? Why do you think there's so few young people going into the real estate market? And
I'll tell you why. It's commission only. These kids don't want commission only. Is
And
that really bad?
I don't want commission only.
No, I mean, is that really bad for me to say? Or, it could be awful, but they're just not commission only people.
Yeah.
But what do you think is going to be the market? Because, we have to be building our businesses, like in the real estate industry, to be like receiving those kind of kids, right?
Right.
And how do you think the real estate like brokers and companies, why they're not prepared to receive them? Because of the business model? What do you think? Like
One is we are South Florida, so we used to be a way older city. So actually, even to afford to live here in Fort Lauderdale is really expensive now.
Right.
Really expensive. I mean, you're looking at, what are we talking about? Average rent price in downtown Fort Lauderdale was $2,300 for one bedroom?
Yeah.
That's insane. I couldn't afford that. And how do you afford that on a commission?
Yeah.
So, you have the kids coming in that are trust fund babies and they don't need the money. Those are the ones you can build up. But a lot of my realtors are the ones that are crushing it that came from another career.
Okay.
Totally crushing it.
Okay.
I have Beth Daly, who is the nicest woman in the world, and everyone loves her.
Yeah.
She was a hairdresser, crushing it.
So does she have a network that she brought with her? Is that what kind of
and same with Dory Santiago.
So if you're if you're kind of coming into our business,
no, they're older. That's what I'm saying.
Right. I'm saying, but if you're younger, trying to break into this business, and you don't have any of the sort of the networks or the CRMs or anything built into it, coming in here as cold is going to be really tough.
Right, and go around and look. You don't have a lot of young people. A lot of the young ones we do have came in just like even in my old business. They came in because their parents.
Okay.
But I see, whenever I see something like this, a very strong characteristic like this in any business, I see opportunity. Where is the opportunity there? How do you identify it? Because if you see that all the young people, they're not coming directly to the real estate industry, how can my buddy here, Jay, start? How can he start? Could potentially be capturing people, young people, for his business.
Oh, very easy. Actually, this is a good one.
Yeah,
so,
that's good.
have you met Prince Hassan?
Love Prince.
Okay, so Prince is fabulous.
Great guy.
And he is literally, I met him before he even graduated from UM.
Yeah.
Before he even graduated
I could have
from
scooped
UC.
Prince up. He was
Yes.
good. He's good.
He's amazing. And he got into it with his friends. And I would tell people to do this. Bring college kids in. Down here is something different. And you and I, so Jay and I have a little bit even more of a background. We're both
Right.
Midwesterners. We
Yep.
both lived in LA. We can go talk about our
We're OGs.
club scene stories.
We're OGs.
And then we both moved here. But we didn't have, this is, oh my God, do you remember West Side Rentals?
Oh, yeah.
So in LA, in order to rent something, you had to go buy a list for $40.
Right.
And it was West Side Rentals. We didn't have real estate agents in California for
Yeah.
rentals.
Yeah, you're right.
Florida is a rental market.
Right.
And that's how Prince got into it, was making money off of all his friends for rentals. He realized, wait, I can make money off of that?
Why fight the high end and just stay with the people that he knows? Yeah.
So to be honest, I would go after these college kids and say, you want to make some extra money, go get your license. And here's how we can make it off your friends. Build that rapport from these kids young.
Yeah.
And build that rapport to when they want to buy. The average buyer, though, you and I both know, is 38, I think now.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, well, the millennials are aging finally into the 30s now, which is really interesting.
And do you know it's a single woman is the number one?
The swing. Is it? Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Single woman more than a family.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Does that
Yeah,
tell you about us?
It is.
I bought my house as a single woman.
The Prince story is actually pretty relevant. I have an agent on my team named Kira, and we hired her as an intern. She was an intern for us for a year. And she did phenomenal. She was, really like educating our team about Instagrams and TikToks, and she was just a natural fit for the group.
Oh, I love Kara.
And I think she's going to be something special. I think she's and we did. It's interesting you said that. Like we went through the growing pains of like, well, where does she want to steer her direction towards? And we sit down, we do these workshops with the agents when they come on the team, and kind of try to really flush out like you got to kind of know your market that you're in. Right, it's hard, and I think you alluded to this. If Prince would have come into the market and said, I want to be the top luxury agent in the area, but he's living, in Flagler Village, how does he connect to that market and that buyer and that seller? And so, but he did it organically, where he started sort of building up his network close to home, and then obviously the ripple effect occurs, and it doesn't mean he's not going to get.
And he's getting like his friends' parents.
Correct.
And
correct.
then he's also becoming good friends with the younger ones, like Lizzie Caldwell.
Right.
So Liz Caldwell's daughter.
Correct, her daughter. Yep.
Nikki Holzhauser.
Yep.
And they're coming together.
Yep.
And they're all the second generation. But once
Correct.
again, they're all second generation.
Yeah.
Not Prince. Prince is just a worker.
Well, right, like Prince and Kira, they don't come from a background of real estate.
No, but
which
they do come from background working families.
They do, and I think that's
They're
where that
very hardworking
their
parents.
their grit is there, and not to discard any of the other ladies you mentioned that have sort of the nepotism of real estate with it, because hey, listen, if you have somebody that can show you the ropes, that's fantastic.
Well, no, but Kira even technically kind of has some
she's got construction.
background. So there isn't
so she knows what she's talking
nepotism
about.
in there. But
Yeah.
all I'm saying, but that's actually, there's nothing wrong with the nepotism. It's because they've been around it.
Right.
And if you look at so many of these kids, actually most of them fight it.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Lizzie didn't want to do it. She
Oh, is
was in
that right?
California.
Is that right?
Nikki didn't want to do it. Nikki's massively into yoga.
Well, yeah.
And Nikki runs these luxury yoga retreats that are
she's
to
great.
die
She's
for.
Great. She's
So you have those, but they got into it because it's in their blood.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good.
And you can't stop it.
Yeah. I think that the model for the young agent coming into our market, they're going to have to look for ways to diversify themselves for marketing themselves as well too. And I think that the magazine is this is why I think, like, once again, I go back to this magazine.
Please do. Thank you. Look at him trying to help.
Well, it just, to me, there's just not a lot of ways to individualize yourself. Right. And so, If you don't have like a best friend that has a podcasting studio, or a best girlfriend that has her own luxury, top influencer magazine, or my partner who owns Venice, it's like, obviously these are things that are not normal, right?
Right.
So taking that out of that, somebody has to do something different in order to break it into this, into this industry. And I love that you're giving them an opportunity. And once again, it just shines back to your giving for real estate, the real estate industry, because you don't see a lot of that. A lot of and I'll say this, wholeheartedly, a lot of the magazines are asking for
every
us,
single one.
So
if you actually see anyone else in any other magazine, we are the only magazine that I hate to use this word, but pay for play.
Right.
You have to pay to play. Right. So you have to pay to be in it.
Now you're not an advertorial magazine. You're much more.
I joke with people.
Your content.
We're 100% content. I joke and I'm like, we are actually like the People magazine.
Yeah.
We're the People magazine of realtors in Broward County.
I used to pick up people all the time, so.
And we have 100 magazines across the country.
That's
so
cool.
I have the franchise for Broward.
Okay.
We have a franchise in Miami. We have a franchise in Orlando. We have a franchise in Tampa.
Got it.
Naples, all over. And it really is to bring everyone together.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you knew this, but we are stuck between number 1 and number 3 real estate boards in the country.
Okay.
So right now, I believe the Miami board has 50,000 members.
I am a proud Miami board member and a past governor.
There you go. And then our beaches, which is the Palm Beach, St. Lucie, the Broward, Palm Beach, St. Lucie board, our world.
Got it.
Has, I want to say, 40,000 members now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a monster.
We have 90,000 members in South Florida. And I believe the one in between is Houston, number 2. So when you have this many members, how do you separate yourself with that many agents?
Yeah.
Now, how many are practicing? How many are Joe Schmo's sister, Joe Schmo's? That's the other problem is everyone's like, oh, I know someone who's an agent, or I don't.
Yeah, we talked about that. It's probably the toughest thing that we discovered in our conversations for our last episode is that, what is the difference between a real estate agent and someone that basically just gets a real estate license? Or a realtor, right. So
we call a professional realtor, right?
Professional realtor.
It's a realtor.
What's that? Yeah. Adventuring on it.
Now, when you bring an agent, when you discover somebody that you want to do a story on, you've got the young up-and-comer.
Yep.
Obviously, you've got the other side, which is the top producer.
Yep.
Right.
And then we also have a celebrating a leader.
So tell us a little bit about that, because I was kind of ponying you up for that one, which I think is really cool. Because what I like about that is that one seems to me to be the most giving of them all, because it really has nothing to do with really their production. It has to do with their community involvement.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we have one that's celebrating a leader, someone that's done something in the community, or even a broker that he's just grinding and doing everything behind the scenes that you don't know, but he or she owns the brokerage, and they're the ones that making things happen.
Cool.
Or we do someone who is a rock star agent. They might not be number 1. They might not be a cover story that's doing, $25 million a year, this type of stuff, but they're not someone that are new, but they're making a great living. They're great people, and they have a cool story.
They're philanthropic, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, I always try to find as many making a difference as I can.
Cool.
Now, the interesting thing, you'd be surprised how many people do not give back in this world.
Yeah.
And I've always been on charity boards my whole life.
Yeah.
Nonprofit boards has been something for me.
Right.
And even, this is a funny story, even when I was a kid, I was actually Citizen of the Year.
Oh, okay.
When I was in high school for starting the AIDS awareness program at my school.
Wow.
So it was all about giving back.
Little Heather Kaminsky was a do-gooder.
Oh yeah, I know. Can you believe that one? But no, I even started with my son. So I started volunteering with him at 3 years old.
That's great.
We still do at least 2 or 3 volunteer events a year.
Okay.
Even
so you kind of so was that a model of the magazine, or did you inject that into it?
It's one of the models, but I injected even more.
Got it.
So I actually do have a partnership with City Furniture.
Okay.
That we also do focus on one nonprofit a month.
Oh.
And we actually do a feature on one nonprofit every month.
Well, that's interesting.
And it's a feature with City Furniture.
Okay.
City Furniture has a mission to give back at least 5% of the revenue a year.
Okay.
And They have tons of partnerships. They're amazing people on how much they give back.
So you highlight somebody or
We highlight all the different the
charities,
nonprofits that they choose.
and then kind of partner them up with City Furniture a little bit. Maybe
No, they're partners with City Furniture, and I get to highlight them.
Well, that's really cool.
So like this coming month is American Heart Association and the American Heart Association Walk. They do a ton with that due to his family. His mother passed away from breast cancer, so we do stuff with breast cancer awareness. They do a lot with Habitat for Humanity.
Okay.
And they give furniture back and they build houses with them.
So what I'm also hearing too is some really interesting ways that you're kind of connecting your partners now with I guess like your sort of real estate environment.
Correct. I'm connecting the community.
Okay. So there's three things kind of going on here. Walk us through how you're kind of connecting all pieces of the pie here.
So the pieces of the pie it's connecting my partners to the real estate agents, to the community.
Okay.
And then I guess through me, I'm the kind of little conduit, as you want to put it. But the point is the best want to work with the best.
Right.
Right. And if you want to do a deal, you want to deal with the best because you want to get that deal done and just makes things so much smoother.
Right.
And therefore you want to have a team. So the partners that I work with, I have mortgage lenders, I have home inspectors, I have title companies. These are all referred to me.
Okay.
I don't go after them.
Okay.
I talk to you. I sit down. Who do you use? Can you introduce me to them? Who do you use for painting? Introduce me to that person.
The captain painter.
Who do you use for this that wants to be around the same people like you?
Right.
Because if they're doing business with you,
Yeah.
they want to do business with other people like you.
So, I mean, obviously, there's kind of a yin and a yang, right? So, like, as you've built this network of relationships you have with the real estate agents, I'm sure the partners are kind of coming out of the woodwork because they want the opportunity to connect with the agent,
Correct.
network that you have.
Exactly.
Is that how it works?
That's exactly how it works.
Okay.
Now, interesting enough, obviously, you got to pay to play,
Right? Sure.
right? I mean, the same way you guys do your advertising, you pay to play. That's why I'm giving you something for free. For it's different, but it's something for my partners. That's what get the partners interested.
Got it.
And it amazes me how many times people don't want to spend money to make money.
Yeah.
It actually boggles my mind. Usually I'll get sponsorships for parties and do all this stuff. Our Cinco de Mayo party's coming up.
Yes.
Thanks, City Furniture. They throw
City
it. Oh my God. Darren throws the best parties in the world.
She had an amazing party. I'm hoping that we could do something there for them.
Darren is incredible. Darren is,
She's a giver.
Yeah, Darren actually gives back more than anyone I know. I mean, that woman is incredible, what that family does, what their whole family. And so it's her house in Rio Vista, and we go and we get everyone together.
You're doing the boards again, like you did last year, the cover boards, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Those are all via.
That's awesome.
And you get to see everyone that was in the magazine, and it's a lot of fun, and we celebrate everyone. It's my 3rd year anniversary.
Nice.
So those are always my anniversary parties.
Congratulations.
And it's a way to bring everyone together. And now I, of course, lose my train of thought.
Well, I think what we were talking about was about how you're adding the value from your partners to the real estate.
Oh,
Yeah,
so I was saying about
eventually,
the
what you
events.
do different in the other
Right. No,
magazines?
so actually, the other thing is, so I do this event, and I usually get partners to sponsor.
Right.
Times were tough, right? Let's be honest. We've heard some times are tough. I wasn't afraid. I took money out of my own pocket.
Yeah.
Normally, I get partnershits, but my last event I did, most of that was paid out of my own pocket.
You're talking about the bartender bash.
So we just did a bartender.
Can we
bash.
segue real quick? I love Darren, and I'm going to give her due here in a second about the Cinco de Mayo party because it was a great party. Well, let's just talk about this bartender bash real quick.
Yeah, because I think I have someone here that could be a good bartender.
We had a lot of fun with this.
So Heather came up with this great concept, and using her
That was my concept.
her network. She had a great venue. The venue was at the
Paradise Grills.
Paradise
on
Grills.
Sunrise. It's their main showroom. It's so cool.
It
People
was
don't
really
realize.
cool, and I see it a lot from the road. And you probably, if people are listening, it's right off of Sunrise, and it's that big, big construction on the right hand side. It's on the south side. You could see
No, it's on the north side across from Holman.
on the south side of across from home. No, north side. I'm sorry,
North
you are
side
correct.
across
North
from
side.
Holman.
I'm sorry, across from
So
home.
you
and
keep
north side,
going
yes.
by this and you're like, Paradise Grills, what is this?
Yeah, and they have the most outrageously decked out summer kitchens and bars and grills in there. You definitely should.
Yeah,
stop
but the
by.
best thing about these, you don't need a permit.
Yeah.
They come right in.
Yeah, it's like
and you can get them in 5 to 7 days.
right. Just delivers and it's ready to go. It's like party in a box.
Literally, party in your backyard right there tomorrow. If you want a Super Bowl party like the week before, they could have had it done.
Now I don't know how she pulled this off, but she threw a bartender competition inside there, and they allowed everybody to utilize these makeshift, already built, constructed, bars,
tiki
bars, and whatnot. Now I want to get to the really important point. Who won that? All right, so let's just talk about that, because I seem to recall that my team created a pretty special drink. It was a challenge of who can create the flavor of Fort Lauderdale. And compliments to some of my behind the scenes friends.
And we all know those are. You guys had a little extra help.
We had a little extra help, but there was I don't see there was not really a lot of there wasn't defined rules involved here. It was just come up with a concept.
Yeah.
And we created the spicy jalapeno margarita, which I thought,
it was good.
That's a pretty good shot for winter of Fort Lauderdale. And I'm not quite sure the drink that we got beat by, but they had I think all they had was they were just shooting out dollar bills, and I think that's what basically got everybody's attention. Yeah.
But that's team
Event was
that
the name,
just
right?
crushes, like the Ramona Batista team that does what you and I were talking about. But they do your price points, but they go all over and just get stuff done.
Yeah.
And
that was good.
But no, they did have a great. The problem was I got in trouble. You want to know why? There was a tie, 3-way tie, and I had no clue how to handle the tie.
She had little chips that she basically had as like a voting system.
I didn't think there'd be a tie, and especially 3-way.
We were lobbying for it. I think someone stole some of our chips.
So at the end of the day, you decide not for him, right?
Yeah.
Well, the other ones won. Well, we let the group decide.
And we still invited her here today, right?
Yes, we did.
We are very generous, right?
I know, right? How did I even end up getting here?
We all know who won. That's all I know.
But let me ask you
what he
this.
doesn't know, what's in the next issue is everyone's picture, like each team with their actual ingredients and their recipe for their drink.
And now after this podcast, if you have a tie, you're gonna be the winner, right?
That's right, exactly. That's right. Oh, that's cute though. I didn't know that. That's gonna be fun.
Yes.
But Heather, tell me a little bit because you are mentioning that you have the magazine, is like and the real producers, and how do you do to face a little bit the digital media right now? What do you do differently that's gonna highlight a value for you for your magazine? What do you think it is? Because I see that a lot of people is coming back for the networking, the real connections and stuff. So besides those parties, what else do you do as a connector, and what type of value do you think being in your magazine or being connected to you as a magazine will add to them? As a vendor, as a company, or as a realtor?
So a few things. One, I'm always a connector. I always sit down with realtors. I was just with my next cover story, and I was with them. I'm like, how can I help you? What do you need? Okay.
Yeah, you're good like that.
How can I help you? And then they're like, wait, how can I help you? I'm like, well, let me ask. And I go, why? And I kind of think, and I look, who would they get along with, right? And they're like, I go, you know what? You'd really like my insurance guy. Mm-hmm. Like, you and Jerry Katz would do really well together.
Right.
And boom, she's like, I need his number now. I mean, just little things like that is how it works. Now, with social media, very interesting that you mentioned that. Because I was talking to a national company, and I don't know if you noticed this, but they went off social media. 100% went off.
Interesting.
And it's Lush Cosmetics. Went 100% off. Off. 100% off social media. And they said, no, you need to be present and go in our stores. I mean, they have their own website and everything, but no, stop, because I liked when social media wasn't social media. Let me put that word there. I liked it when social networking. Okay, let's really look at this. When it was social networking, not media, that was when it was right. Because now everyone wants to be freaking influencer.
Right.
And every Joe Schmo and Harry thinks that they can make money off of it.
Right.
And be an influencer.
Yeah.
And that's where I have a problem. I try to give value back by just showing who I'm with. Sometimes the power, what do they tell you? You are who your friends are, right? They tell you who you're with. So you'll see me posting when I'm out with people. You'll see me posting probably after this. We'll take a picture.
Yeah.
it'll be up there.
Yeah, you don't glamorize a lot of the thing. Like, I don't
Nothing.
think, yeah, I think you're, I think you're really a fitting person to have this conversation with, because, we strive, I think, with this podcast, The Real Stuff is just showing a lot the authentic side of people. And we don't want someone to come here and sit in front of us and glamorize what they do. I mean, sure, there's glamour to everything that we do, but you're right. Social media has a space, but the problem is that it's become such an advanced form of media now that you can literally put a filter on everything that you do to really only show the bits that you want.
Right.
And I'm not quite sure that that's where the direction of the authentic kind of connections with people really is going.
And 90% of the people don't know how to talk.
Yeah.
They don't know how to talk with anybody anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference. Is what I do is I try to bring people together. I do smaller lunches here and there. I'll connect. I mean, you want to call me and say, hey, Heather, I want to meet this person.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you become this huge and amazing, effective PR for everyone, right?
Yes. That's actually pretty
Yeah.
much.
So probably we can rebrand it to the Real Producers PR
I was going to
company,
say
right?
the RPPR, right?
Seriously,
The
seriously.
RPPR. But that's really, it's, about introductions. If someone's talking, the other thing I do is I meet with my partners and I'll say, what's going on? I mean, and I get the pulse of the market, or I'll call people and be like, this person's at the event. You really should try to connect with them.
Yeah.
Or specifically tell them who's going to be there.
Well, I think that's what's cool is that when you write these stories about agents, whether they're up and comer, whether they're a giver or they're a top producer, I think there's obviously there's a level of fluff that you put into it because everybody wants to have their ego. They want their ego stroked a little bit, and I get it. But you're really writing stories about them, maybe talking about a person or how and I think that's really cool.
Well, and I think what's great is we do stories on our partners.
Yeah.
So you get a story, our partners get an article. So you get to learn about them as people. Funniest story, one of the best ones that ever happened. One of my partners, this is the best story ever. Someone told me, you got to meet this girl, give this girl Julie Rodkin Grushoff a call. So it was Lori Spector told me, give Julie Rodkin Grushoff a call. I'm like,
I don't think I know her.
I'm going, why do I know this name? And we're friends on Facebook. And I'm like, this name just sounds way familiar. And something is just not connecting in my mind. And I call her and I leave her a message. This is Heather from Broward Real Producers. Lori told me to give you a call. She calls me back. She goes, is this the Heather Kaminsky from Agawak?
Oh.
I'm like, what? All of a sudden my head clicked. She and I went to camp together in Minocqua, Wisconsin.
Wow.
I won't tell you how many years ago.
Wow.
So I was, she's, I want to say 2 years younger than me. I was her sister's counselor.
Okay.
And I was a camper above her. So we were in camp together 3-4 years.
And she's
crazy.
And ready for this? She's with Clear Choice Mortgage.
Is she really?
Yep.
Wow.
With Joey Rivera and his team.
Everybody ends in Florida. Everybody ends in
Well, no, she was
And the
already here.
world is so small, right?
She was
Sometimes.
already
When the
here in
world
Florida.
ends, everybody's coming to Florida.
She was already here in Florida. The only reason she went to Wisconsin is because that's where her cousin is.
Okay.
So they went to camp. So then she went to University of Wisconsin.
No kidding.
So that's where she went to school. One of our guys who's not even in a top 500, but who is right there. I mean, my top, literally, I want to say my 500 to 800 is just 2 deals apart.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how many it is. 500 to 900, like 2-3 deals
All
apart.
professional realtors, probably, right?
All professional realtors.
So guys,
he's
if you want to
reading
be in the 500,
Right.
be professional.
Yes. So
Yes.
he's reading the magazine
Yeah.
in the Keller Williams office
Right.
because it's just there for someone else. But of course, people read
Yep.
even though it says someone else's name on it, they don't care.
Right.
And he's reading, goes, oh my God, this girl went to Wisconsin. They've been doing to get deals together ever since.
Oh, that's cool.
But that's what it is. People want to do business with
Yeah.
people
like and trust. Yeah.
ding, ding, ding.
Do you feel that like because you are kind of a center for that everyone comes to discuss and to share and to connect with you and even to be connected to someone else? Do you think you have a good appreciation or understanding of what is their struggles and what is the main pinpoints for their success? What do you think about that? Because, I can see Jay, he has his friends, and that's amazing, right? He has his story, but his story is his own story, right? And you, with this magazine, it's like you are living the life of, I don't know, hundreds, dozens of realtors, right? At the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're connecting with them, and you are seeing all their characteristics and seeing a little bit what make them successful or not successful, the struggles. the shit that happens.
Yeah.
Do you feel you can capture this? You can capture the trends and the characteristics?
It's if people want to be real.
Hmm.
Okay, let's be honest. Do people want to be real? I'm an open book.
Yeah.
I can't be any more honest than anyone else.
Yeah.
There are people out there that just don't necessarily want to be real.
Okay.
Then there's those who have overcome and done some amazing things, like the Corey Edwards. You know, if you read Corey Edwards' book, did you see he came out with a book? He was shot as a kid.
Oh.
He walks with crutches, canes and everything. Yeah. He went through the downturn of Quicken Loans and everything, and went into bankruptcy, came up, built it, and now they have one of the top teams here.
Okay.
So if it's someone like that wants to tell you about the struggles and how to overcome,
yeah,
of course. Now, are there people that are going through struggles right now?
Right. Do you have partners that come up to you and ask you about somebody and you're like, I would never ever work with those people?
Why would I ever do that?
Like, yeah, they look like they might be a hot top producer, but they are batshit crazy, and I would never want to work with them.
I'm pleading the fifth.
Don't hold back on this, Heather. Yeah, you have a lot more dirt than I think you're confessing to, right?
The real stuff.
I am pleading the fifth. I am going to say that there
are need to be mentioned.
It's not permitted here.
I don't want to get myself in trouble. I don't want to get defamation of character lawsuit coming up. No, there are names out there. You'd be surprised that everyone's like, don't you dare, don't you dare, don't you dare.
Yeah.
I will say a couple of those names have treated me the same way that people talk about it.
Right.
So I'm not surprised. Yeah. I'm more surprised as to how they've gotten to the top.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'm really more surprised as to how these people got to the top with the way they treat other people.
That's interesting. So it can be an ass and still be a super producer.
Yeah, right. Or maybe not an ass, but maybe even like somebody that,
Oh no, he used the right word.
Couldn't put two stones together to make a fire, but they can actually sell $20 million deals.
No, it's more of how can you be a jerk in this business?
Yeah.
And make money.
Do you think that and I'm not talking, you have to be pretentiously like arrogant to sell like ultra luxury?
No.
Okay.
I do not.
Let's give a shout out to somebody that you might know that comes to your mind that's a luxury agent that at a pretty like high level that is just like a sweetheart. Let's give a shout out to somebody.
Nikki Holzhauser with 100%.
I like Nikki too.
100%.
Yeah.
Nikki is the most down to earth, coolest chick you'll ever meet.
Well, I totally back up the cool part.
Totally laid back, cool, selling an $11 million home. Yeah, you're like, what?
Yeah.
And what I love about
Can you see this in a guy?
Yeah, what about a guy? Let's give a guy a shout out.
You mean like Jay?
Besides me.
He's still building his team to get into 20 million high producers.
I'm just pretty.
You're definitely prettier than me. I'm not going to lie there. He's definitely got the prettier going than me.
There's some really fun guys.
Only the hair is like
there are some fun. There are definitely some cool guys. The coolest guy, I will tell you.
Yeah.
You want to shout? Chad Gray.
Chad Gray's cool. I like Chad.
Gray.
Chad, I have to agree. Chad
Gray. He is considered
guy.
a high producer for you. Top 10, top 20?
Well, Chad Gray actually keeps beating his own record, and he keeps going against Tim Elms by selling the highest home. I
take that back. I don't like Chad anymore. Chad's not my favorite person
Remember,
anymore.
Jay, we talk about that.
I gotta
podcast. Okay. So let's invite him to be in the podcast.
Chad, if you were listening, you were my next guest.
And you need Prince.
Yes, I love Prince.
And
we're going to talk about a young guy. We're going to talk to Prince for sure.
Yeah, but Chad is,
I used to work with Chad back in Coldwell Banker days when I first started. And Chad and I were, we were not big high producers back then. Chad really, really took off really well.
But I will
proud of him.
Tell you his marketing partner, the guy that was answering his phone for him, and Chad will know this about me, so I'm not saying anything. Oh, he was a total awful, mean gatekeeper.
Yeah.
He wouldn't let me in that door.
Oh yeah, he was the pit bull.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to talk to Chad. This is like in my beginning about doing an article. Oh no, we don't do anything. I mean, it was like mean. Find out later it was his old partner.
So
that they broke up. But.
So probably to be they broke up. Okay, so probably to be gentle, you have to have a good gatekeeper.
No, actually, he was nicer after.
He was holding him back. I think is what the whole point is. Yeah. So
I think it was interesting, but Chad met me out in person afterwards when he got back out.
Yeah.
And I mean, Chad is just a lovely man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good dude.
Good dude. Yeah. And you know what? Another, came from Vermont. You know,
like he's like kind of salt of the earth kind
yeah,
of guy too.
I mean, and was a bartender at the W Hotel.
Isn't that great? So you can start out being a bartender and sell $20 million homes. That's
tell me,
I mean, a server or
server,
bartender. Yeah.
Well, how long have you been doing real estate? This specific case.
So for the magazine, I started.
No, the guy that you
Chad.
mentioned that was a bartender before and just turned into a
was
high
a bartender or a server, I think, maybe even a server. At the W, I want to say it's Steak 954, so it can't be that.
I mean, I don't know. He might be maybe a little over a decade, maybe.
Yeah, I think he's right.
Yeah.
And what you say it would be what he did right to get to this position, to that level that he is now?
One is his personality. He's just genuine.
Mm-hmm.
He's honest. I think that's key too. Don't help me again.
Over BS people.
Over BS and under deliver.
Right. No, that's a great way
of putting it. Over BS and under deliver.
Because you're right. There's a lot, the outlets that we have in the media world, there's a lot of people out there and some of them use the fluff and actually get the results, and some of them use the fluff and
he didn't do anything on Instagram.
He wasn't. He was always very
not
quiet.
even on Instagram or Facebook. He was quiet.
Yeah, we're very quiet.
He just did. I think he just worked.
Yeah.
Just worked his
network and
and magic.
Network is really strong.
Once again, back to network and relationships.
I was just going to go there too.
What is the good secrets? Again, because I think it's amazing to have you here because you have to meet so many people in this industry that we could potentially bring similar things that people does. What is the good networking? Because there's a lot of networking that's BS and people waste a lot of time, right?
True.
Yeah.
And I did this a lot in my professional life as a painter. So what is the good network that you think it works for realtors?
One is definitely stick into the nonprofits. So I think not enough do it. If it's something you believe in and are passionate about, then you share something that someone else is passionate about. But don't go to a nonprofit because you just want to meet someone.
Yeah,
Because you want to meet somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Do it something that you're
The
passionate
unauthentic
about.
thing,
Yeah, be genuine.
Yes.
Right?
It's all about being
because
genuine.
you want to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, take advantage.
I say that all the time to the agents that I train in little workshops is be genuine and opportunistic. But remember, genuine comes first.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great point is that giving back, as long as you're leading with your heart first and your wallet second, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, for sure. I completely can get it. For example, if I'm involved in a nonprofit, like a Brazilian, right? So if I have nonprofit Brazilian guys, and I have a realtor that's connected to me, I will for sure give him the first opportunity to do business with if I want to buy a home. And what would be the other ones?
Oh, wait. Did you just say that and you're not using Jay?
Oh, no. I sold him this house.
It depends. Let's how he performs. Let's see how he performs.
Wait, do you like me totally?
It depends how many likes, how many views we're
I'd like
gonna
to
have
take
this
this
podcast.
opportunity to interview for the listing right now.
And if you collaborate with a Brazilian charity here, you're gonna be invited for my next podcast.
Just wrote that down. Join a Brazilian charity. Got it.
Yeah, totally authentic.
Check.
Totally genuine
Check.
right there.
It's very genuine. Very genuine.
That's good. So
I mean,
it was only a message, hidden message. Right now.
Hit it, right?
And how give me other good stuff to do in terms of networking for realtor.
Don't laugh. Honestly, go to where you like to eat and sit at the bar. Do not sit at a table.
Interesting.
Sit at the bar. You will not believe who you meet, especially in this town with everyone being transient, everyone coming here on vacation.
It's,
And honestly, if you're single, use that Tinder.
Oh
my God, let me tell you.
I struggle with
use
that
it.
one, but I it's not the first time I've heard that. I have a couple agents on my team that it's, when we worked out their strategies for 2023,
Here it comes.
They came up with this strategy that being at the Lobster Bar or at Fogo de Chao or someplace that
Don't
YOLO.
go there. Yeah,
let's go to Laço Gaúcho, guys.
Right,
One
Laço
friend of
Gaúcho.
mine.
Yes, Laço Gaúcho. But it was about sitting at the bar, and so and
I'm not even talking about going to the luxury. I sit at B Squared Bar.
Yeah.
That's just your everyday place.
Your
and I'll
hamburger
work
and
there-
fries, right,
eating hamburger and fries.
Right.
or my chicken with avocado and coconut rice. And I meet more people that way, and I'll connect people.
Well, I think that, if you're to use the bar strategy, we talked about that, and I said, listen, if you're going to go sit at a bar, and I kind of went the other way. I said, don't go sit at the burger joint. Go sit at some place where, if you're going to aim high. So, place yourself at the bar at one of these nicer new restaurants. And then, the idea is that if this is a strategy, this is truly a business strategy, right? And you have to have business, accountabilities. Like, is it about you collecting information from people, or you giving your name out to them? The problem with making the bar strategy authentic is that you'll get caught up in having, your 4 drinks later, and then you realize that
I'm
you're not.
talking more about having lunch at a bar.
Yeah. Oh, lunch. Okay.
No, I'm talking about doing lunch at a bar.
Okay.
Because don't sit at lunch at a table.
Right. Oh, I agree with that too.
Do not go and sit at.
Can't
go
be a
have
secret.
lunch.
Can't be a secret agent.
No,
can't
go
be a
and
secret
sit.
agent. Yeah.
I'm all about having lunch because I'm not at night.
Right.
I'm about lunch, and I actually will take it differently than you. I won't go to Lobster Bar or whatever. Even though you want to be a luxury agent, I say start lower and build yourself up.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have to agree all the time, right?
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
And some of those people already have their agents.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's about visibility.
It's about visibility, 100%. Because do you know how many times it takes for someone to want to work with you?
I think there was some.
Give me this number.
Seven
times. Okay.
Oh.
7 times.
7 connections.
7 connections. Okay. 7 times that they run into you. 7 times that they meet you.
Okay.
That's the normal for sales.
Okay.
That's what it is.
All right.
It's not just a one-time, one shot.
Right.
And I've never been that one-time, one shot.
Right.
That's just not the trust. I'm about trust. And I want you to work with me because you want to work with me.
Yeah.
So you got to have 7 touches.
Interesting.
And that's what they say.
Let me call for the commercial, guys.
Yeah.
1 second. Guys, commercial time now. Probably can announce our sponsor today. Real Producers
magazine. There we go. There we go.
Heather, what's the website if you want to see our magazine?
It is realproducersmag.com. Now, what's great is you're going to have to go in and look at all the different locations and go to Broward. But it's great, and it even has our partners on there.
Okay.
It has some of our past issues on there.
Yep. And then what about on Instagram? Where that's a popular favorite.
Broward Real Producers.
Broward Real Producers.
On Instagram, Broward Real Producers on Facebook.
Awesome.
And if you want to find just me, it's Heather the Connector.
Okay, guys, we'll come back in one field. Nice. We're going to refill here our beers and we come back. Okay?
I was going to ask about that.
Yes.
Can I just dance?
Hello.
All right.
We are back.
I might have to talk about the music, but
it's catchy.
It's catchy.
You know what?
It's very game showy. Very game showy.
And it kind of feels like staying alive.
I don't know if I stay alive.
Okay, guys, we are here in the second part of our show today with Heather.
Add more beer.
Again, a Real Producers magazine here in Broward County. It's going to be great. And with Jay, my co-host here.
I think we need an alcohol sponsor.
Yeah, we might. We might. Just so you know, if you are out there, we are looking for an alcohol sponsor. I'll be happy to wear a T-shirt.
Yeah. Why not, right?
Why not?
Why not? Money and boost a little bit.
It is. You know what? But you know what? We did say this, that we were always supposed to start our episode with a toast with our guests. So that's how
Cheers.
That's how we start every.
One more time for the video. Yeah.
That's how we start every time.
Ching ching. Cheers. Salud.
Once again, we're called The Real Stuff for a reason. We want to make sure that we speak the truth, and this might just be the truth serum. So
it is actually.
It's all good.
I mean,
okay, guys, let's.
It's definitely the truth serum.
The news for today.
All right,
Fox News.
What's going on?
Fox Business News. Here, there is the header. Florida real estate market staying hot despite agent exodus. So it seems that we lost 100,000 agents from last year.
Wow.
In Florida or South
Florida? In Florida.
Okay.
I was gonna say.
Entire Florida. So from 2022 peak of 1.6 million
it means they
to
didn't pay their dues.
1.5 million this January. So what do you think about that? So we have wash out 100,000
One,
agent.
I think.
Does that affect your business?
It doesn't affect me at all. None of those are in the top 500.
Okay.
None of those care. Or unless they moved to California, they moved back somewhere.
Right.
Unless it's someone that moved for their family or their family business or something.
Right.
And actually they sold out because they had a great offer. or they retired. That's
Okay.
a different. Those are the only ones that would reflect. I think one of them, she left last year, but she came back. Dondi Hopkins was one of my top.
I like Dondi.
Okay, so Dondi was great, but she moved to Georgia for a few years.
Right.
For her children.
Right.
So for them to go to school. So
let me ask you a question, because Dondi has a big team. Did you hear anything like this from this? This is big news. Are you hearing anything from some of your team top producers?
I haven't heard any of this.
None of their like starting agents or incoming agents, did they feel like there's turnover with their team at all?
Well, I mean, Lori always has turnover.
Okay.
That's always what it is. We have a team that big.
Right.
You just always. That's
Right.
one of those things where you just turn over.
Because you hear a lot of the conversations at at the higher end water cooler,
Right.
right? So, but I'm curious, there's obviously news about this. It is happening.
Interestingly enough, I actually meet with the board all the time.
Okay.
I'm really close with the beaches, with our world.
Yep.
This is what we like to call them. And I'm going to their International Women's Day event tomorrow.
Okay.
And I mean, interesting that you say that, because they tell me their numbers have been up. But so some of it could be their dues, and
Right.
it could also be. It might not just be It might not be South Florida either. It might be 100,000 that are exiting from up north that can't afford it as much. That did move up into, say, the Georgias.
So you don't see it affecting your guys, and
It
Jay, you
doesn't
don't see it affecting your.
Well, I have a different. Obviously, we come from different sides of the fence. She's dealing with obviously successful agents that have passed sort of their, passing on through sort of beginner status to actually producing. I mean,
because it is a sign, right?
It's-
You even lower your level
Well,
of being a high producer for a magazine, right?
Correct.
So something's showing up. So how
Right.
Actually, a lot of the people didn't change this year as much as they had in the past. So a few years ago, I had like half my list changed over.
right.
But that's because that was so tight. That 6 to 6.7 range
Right.
is one house, right?
Sure.
So that whole, as I was telling you, that 500 to 900
Yep.
could be one house.
Yeah.
But
Hey, you're right. You're right.
I mean, that really isn't.
It's sad to say that in a weird way, but
It's so sad to say.
you
it
could sell
be
one house and be a top producer. I guess
no, that you missed being a top producer.
or
by
you
one
miss it
house.
by it. Yeah.
Like, you really missed.
But I'm saying you could sell a $12 million home and be considered the qualifying.
I watch some of those.
Got
Don't
it.
worry.
Got
I scrub my list.
Okay.
So I will tell you, we do scrub our list. I don't keep those flat fees on there.
Got it.
If you're a
So it's a combination of quantity and the value of the home, right? If someone sells one home
yeah,
for the level of $7 million,
They're not going to make the cover of your magazine.
not even close.
Okay.
but he will.
And if they were based in New Jersey, they're definitely not even in my list.
Okay. So they got so you're really kind of focusing on the ones that are homegrown.
You curate it. A
No,
little
I
bit.
curate it.
Okay.
Like him.
That's right. Like the Curate collection.
I curated collection.
Little self plug.
Yeah.
See, I'm so, hey, I can throw
Jay,
back.
I love
probably
it.
you have
I
to
love it.
pay me that
I love that.
barbecue,
Trademark.
right? Yeah,
Trademark.
Yeah,
Trademark.
'cause,
That's right.
the idea here was not to be doing advertising
I-
for you.
I-
More advertising for me, right?
Sorry. I gotta give. I gotta give. My bad. So yeah, I
That's
mean,
okay. That means he's painting my house for free.
right there it is. There it
He's
is.
painting my
He
house.
painted
for
my
free.
house, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I see. I give back. No, I mean, and that is interesting. I mean, I kind of feel like I know the why, right? The why being that the market had changed dramatically over the last 6 months. Inventory went stagnant for a while. Buyers freaked out. They didn't want to buy because the interest rates went up. And so all of a sudden, where everybody was just on this like perpetual incline of success, dramatically changed. And I want to say, at least from my perspective, right around that August, September period of last year. And it just went literally to a flat line beep. And the phone stopped ringing, the people stopped coming. And it really wasn't a time where people were coming down here anyways at that time. So it was a really scary time. And I got to imagine that we talked about this last time, is that people got into the real estate reasons, not say for the wrong reason,
No, you're right.
but they got into the real estate industry for the wrong reasons or right reasons. And then if they got the back half of it, they got in late, they realized I can't take advantage of all this great market. And now they're like, well, I'm stuck.
Well, let's put it this way. I mean, and I say this and everyone wants to whatever, but during COVID, these big companies also used it as an excuse to get rid of the people that have been with the company for a very long time that have made a really high salary, right?
Yeah.
They got a chance to get rid of them.
Right.
They used it as an excuse. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
And just like they did when we hit, 2009, they used it as an excuse. They didn't need to get rid of those people, but they did because they just got to a point where they're like, great, we can get rid of them without they can't get mad at us. They can't fight back in HR. We can get rid of the people that we're paying too much for anyway. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what happened right now, is that these people tried to come into a market that, everyone's making money. Now we're back to being with the people that are the true professionals.
Yeah.
That's really just it. That means, to me, that actually means nothing.
Right.
It means people just decided not to pay their dues. I mean, really, that's like,
True.
I mean, I hate to say it, but they're like, nah, I'm not paying my dues right now. And guess what? Watch them pay their dues if they have a house come up. That's their brother's, uncle's, sister's boyfriend.
Good point.
But I am a firm believer, the people are different, but you know what? Don't get mad if your friends don't want to use you. I have learned a lot in life, and doing business with friends is almost worse than doing business with someone that you became friends with through business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is how I like to do business.
That's a tough subject because I mean, in this world, especially, a constant joke is that if I have a party at my house, it's almost like a broker's open. Because all my friends are agents.
Can you imagine mine?
All my friends are married to real estate agents. It's like
that's why I never get invited.
That's right, because I don't want anybody to take you from me. That's exactly why. I'm protecting you.
Wait, I'm not even invited.
Exactly.
Did you see
wait.
I even never knew that he has so many parties going on, but he has a lot.
He does, and I'm not invited.
I give a lot, but I do not give my clients away. I'm sorry. You are not allowed to talk to another real estate agent. I mean, it's the industry right now, I think, in Florida, is going through these crazy shifts. The other thing I saw on the news, and I don't know if you had that kind of ponied up, was that Miami just got labeled as the most wealthiest city for real estate in the entire country. I think we beat out like
New York,
and Northern California. So the ultra wealthy.
Well, if you have a client that $8 million condo penthouse at the Aston Martin is still available.
Yes.
Anyone ready to buy?
There it is.
Are you single? Because I'm moving in. If it's a single guy, I don't even care. If it's a single girl, I'm moving in with you.
You don't discriminate. You don't discriminate. That's so good about you, Heather. It's good about you.
I don't discriminate.
It's this is Southern California coming out of you right there. But yeah, I mean, if you think about the changes that are happening in Florida, over the last 2 years, the real estate agent market has just, taken, it had a huge influx, and now it's having a huge exodus, right? Because it's become so competitive.
Because anyone and their Joe Schmo could do a deal at that point.
And you have to work.
Offense,
I mean, listen, you might come into the real estate world and have your license, and you get very lucky.
Right.
Someone throws you a deal, or you're coming into it for a deal. But after that, you got to work.
Yeah, but a lot of those didn't want to work. Like, they were just getting calls automatically. Right. I mean, there was just so many calls coming in. Right. But now I call this market a Mexican standoff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have these buyers that are like, forget it, I'm not going over this price.
Right.
And then these sellers are like, well, screw you, I'm not going down.
I'm not going to go down.
And you're like at this just Mexican standoff. Yeah. And who's going to pull that gun out first?
Yeah. Sounds like
that's very interesting.
Sounds like a conversation at my house.
You mean me and my son?
right.
Me and my little 5-year-old.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
So how about the number of transactions? What's happening right now?
I think they're down overall.
Yes.
Because of just the fact that there's just not as many listings happening right now.
But they're deep down, or they're slightly down?
No, I think the last I heard was around 20% down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's a pretty significant.
No, they're deep down.
Yeah,
they're deep down. Which is very interesting because a lot more offer than we had before, right?
But I was talking to someone today, and we were talking about, well, if I sold my house right now, there's nowhere for me to go.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and I have the same type of analysis because I could not purchase something similar,
right?
For the money that I would get.
Well, I can't even purchase anything. I mean, similar. Forget the similar. Right, yeah. And we don't want to go for similar, right? Yeah. We want to go bigger because we put the investment in, and so we want to spend money. That's why we invested in real estate.
Right. Yeah, right.
But it is no joke. It truly is a Mexican standoff. It will stop soon. Everyone I'm talking to is telling me to look out for the end of May. I mean, not end of May. I want to say May 11th. Is it? You got to look at the date. The next Fed.
Oh yeah. Well,
what do you think is going to happen next Fed?
people think that the rates are not going to go up.
Correct. They're not going to go up. Oh, okay.
They're thinking that's when we're going to start showing the economy is going back to. That's what everyone is telling me. Hopeful. These are my different partners. I don't want to put people's names.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
But they think we're coming back.
It's good to have an opinion there because everyone, nobody knows.
Nobody knows. I mean, by the way, none of us have a crystal ball.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I know that
The fact is,
I know
transactions is
Florida-
hard right now.
Yeah, well, Florida Realtors just came out with an article yesterday saying that they feel like that inflation has not cooled off, which of course that means that we'll see some dramatic changes where they did believe that they were going to lower the rates, and that was the optimistic.
Right. That's what I meant. The rates are going to go lower, not higher.
But because they're not seeing the decline in inflation that they were expecting to see, now they're not as optimistic as actually bringing the rates down as quickly as they were hoping to.
Okay.
So right now, I think the thing that I saw was we were somewhere in the sixes.
Yeah.
And I have seen buyers.
I heard some
interest
people
tick up a little bit because of that, because we were a whole basis point higher.
Yeah, and I've seen some people getting fives, high fives.
Well, the great thing about the lender, you mentioned this earlier, is that the lender community has really done some aggressive things to help the buying community out with doing buy down rates and programs that really, it help them actually, start out at least for the next 2 or 3 years
But remember,
having a lower rate, which is great because remember, you're never married to your interest rate, right? So it's
marry the house, not the rate.
Marry the house, not the rate.
Oh my God, if I see one more of those.
I know. It's a great.
That one went around too.
Marketing plug.
But that went around on all of social media, and if I see one more of those.
But there's truth to that, right? Because, at the end of the day, we all hope and optimistically that they do go down. And if they do, hey, great, you refinance. But to go back what you said, to circle back, is that because we're not seeing a lot of transactions, right? That not only affects the real estate community, of course, what started the question about, but also your partners as well too. So your title companies, your lenders are becoming more aggressive with trying to get more attention and more opportunities to meet with the real estate communities to get the deals. Well, and that kind of circles back to what you provide, right?
That's
You're the
what
connector.
I provide,
right.
Except some of them don't want to pay for it. The ones that are great are my partners that see the value and understand. I don't know if you guys know this. I always love telling this story. What is the number one cereal brand you guys know?
Kellogg's, for Rice Krispies.
Right, Kellogg's, right?
Yeah.
Ever heard of Post?
Yeah.
Who does Post Raisin Bran, right?
Right.
But you hear of Kellogg's.
Right.
Post Raisin Bran before the Depression was the number one cereal.
No kidding.
Post was the number one.
Right.
Guess what happened during the Depression? Post stopped marketing.
Interesting.
No marketing. Kellogg's went big on marketing.
Ramped it up.
Guess who has market share?
Right. Interesting. That's a really good perspective.
So people misconstrue too marketing and advertising. Mm-hmm. Marketing is brand awareness, getting your name out there, keeping it out there, meeting with people, seeing, yes, are you advertising in my magazine? 100%, because they need to see your face again. But it's about being out there, being with that community.
Yeah.
We have, across the country, we have, I think, 2,800 partners. And I want to say 90% of them have never done any advertising.
Interesting.
But they're with us because we're different.
Right.
We're about building relationships. If you want to be with me, like in my magazine, and you think, oh, I'm doing one ad, I only want to do it for a month, like, oh, that's going to get me a ton of calls. No.
Right. It's a relationship connection.
Yes. And that's why I told you about 7 touches.
Yeah.
It's about building a relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's how I've done things. Now, don't get me wrong. When someone comes knocking at my house and I need something picked up off the street, I'll give them the job for $20. Right. But that's a little different.
How many connector events do you do for?
So we always do quarterly events.
Quarterly events, okay.
And everyone says, "Well, why don't you do more? Why don't you do more?"
Right.
No, I'm trying to do some more on another level. But what we found is you guys don't have the time.
Yeah.
And our partners don't have the time. And then it isn't as cool as if I did a happy hour every month.
Right. I agree with
right?
that.
Then why are you going to want to come?
I think it's smart.
So in general, they are what type of events that you do? Happy hours? What else?
No, we actually kind of like to do fun, interactive events.
You do a good job at that. Yeah.
So we always do our annual Cinco de Mayo. As I said, thanks to City Furniture. That one is, happy hour is an understatement.
That's special.
That's a party.
It's a big area. Yeah, it's a big space.
That's a fiesta. It is a true fiesta.
Yeah.
We just
Carnival.
It is.
Yeah, Brazilian carnival.
And we did just do a bartender competition.
Yep.
Okay.
This way, everyone got to go around and meet the different people at the tables.
That was very out of the box.
Thank
very
you.
Cute. Very cute.
Then we've done something where I've had a great speaker come in and talk. Thomas Blackwell.
Oh, yeah.
You were there.
Yeah.
He told you how to use your words, and it's really amazing if you use positive words versus negative.
Okay, cool. So we have an educational event too.
And then I also did a family event last time. Unfortunately, it rained, so we didn't have as
Yeah,
many people.
that's right.
It was a little bit of a
Try to do
bummer.
that
That's
at
pretty
Oakland
cool.
Park,
So a
yeah.
family event, educational
We
event.
do all different things. And
I
then I've
do
also
like the
done
fact
stuff.
that they're not just like happy hours, which is
Yeah,
great.
that's cool. Yeah, You try to bring value into the
Yeah, and then we did
because,
something. We did a day at the races. I can't
right.
tell you how many people have. We live right here,
Yeah.
next to Gulfstream Park.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the races?
No.
See, have you ever been to the racetrack?
Of course.
See, exactly, because.
Yeah.
But most people have never been to the racetrack.
Can't kill me with a good time.
Gave them an opportunity to go to the races.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm giving them opportunities that they wouldn't normally have or wouldn't normally think of. And a bunch of us went down and we took pictures with the winning horse.
Yeah.
So we got to do things that are different.
But I think that's the whole angle that you have. You have a different magazine, a different offer. And
Not just your everyday happy hour with your
and you're creating a different event that
networking,
draws
something.
draws value.
Right. And I don't want to call anyone out because what they do is great. Everyone knows that it's there every month. That's fine. But it's not the same if it's just that same thing every month.
What is something that I'm gonna pony you up for this one?
Ooh.
What is something that your magazine is missing?
You ready for this one?
What's that?
And this is our closure statement now.
This is his closing
'cause
statement.
It's time
You know what
Where
it
is
is
this
hard?
Where was this going?
You know what is hard to find down here? It is really hard to find good contractors. So I'm missing some great contractors as partners that I can refer.
Okay. So if you're a contractor out there, speak with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
great.
that's one thing
I'm looking more from the value add, the overall big picture.
I know. Hold on. And then the other thing we're missing is do I have my social media that's all me and regular?
Yeah.
You
do a good job
What
of that.
we don't have is conversations that people get to hear.
Interesting.
And we do not have a platform where people can listen to what's going on, what's really going on in the marketplace. That's a constant, what's going on.
Right.
I mean, my monthly publication, I can only put so much
Right.
in the magazine because I do it a month and a half in advance.
Right.
And that's, I mean, a lot can happen in a month and a half.
Yep.
But I don't have ways
Right.
to talk
There's
to
a big
people.
gap.
There's a big gap.
Big gap between that.
So I don't have a lot of ways to interview people. And people want to hear what's going on.
Yeah. That's
So
great.
that's what they're missing.
Interesting. Very interesting.
That's great. That's great. Heather, do you want to highlight anything else about our podcast or something that we could be doing better?
Yeah.
And also, what would be your recommendation for us to be interviewing here in the future? What would be the, like 2 or 3 great people that you think is going to be great to come here and then could potentially introduce us?
It's your shout out moment, Heather.
Yes.
No pressure. There's a lot of people out there waiting to hear their names. Who are you going to mention?
Yeah, but if I mention all my partners, I'm in
Oh,
trouble.
man,
Like,
you're
I
in
can't
trouble.
do that. I can't take time to mention all of my
Everybody,
partners.
yeah.
I would say you guys need to speak to my partners, and
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Each one does something that's different. Each one can help you with condo refinancing or condo financing that you don't even know could happen. I just saw my partner, David Scher, the other day announce that he has a new condo that they can do in Aventura for 3% down.
It's great.
How cool is that? So you have someone that can talk to you about something that is different, that is not in this market. So we need those type of things that people, the regular general population, can go, oh my God, there is something like that that I can do. I didn't know you could do 3% down until I finally bought my house with 3% down.
Education is power.
But education.
Yeah.
So that's always great. I also love the stories of people and their open houses or their listings.
Us
Oh
too.
my
That's
God,
cool.
are those
Us too.
so much fun.
Yeah, us too. So
Whose story
yeah.
is you think is going to be great?
Someone
Whose
had a
realtor?
pot belly. I forgot who it was, but they ran into the house and there was a pot belly pig that was huge that was right in front of their
That would be
face.
pretty cool, actually. I don't think I've never seen anything.
So,
but who? Give me a name. Who would be a good? Who do you think would be a good person to be sitting in a chair with where you're sitting at right now?
Who's fun.
Yeah, who's fun.
like a realtor,
Well,
like an agent.
well, to
that
be
thinks
honest,
gonna
though,
be-
I would love to see him and JK go at it.
Oh man,
that's going to be one of the next.
we're
And here
working
I
on
men-
something right now.
And
No
here,
offense,
here
but
I
I would
mentioned
love
that.
to see you
Yeah.
two go at
JK,
it.
you cannot hide from me.
You cannot
hide from me.
I mean, I'd love to see these two go at it because
Yeah.
they have such a great
We're working on
relationship.
something right now. I got something planned for that.
But you
guy.
understand. But that's only because I love to see your relationship. You guys are just so
Really
great.
a lot of fun. Lot of fun. Love
Some
that guy.
of the other agents, I mean, just because she's a true professional. Julie Jones is a true professional.
Yeah, well, I mean, Julie
Julie
Jones
Jones.
Is the number
Okay.
She's
Julie
really one of
Jones
the top.
is. I mean, she's the real deal.
That's
she's
great.
the real deal.
Yeah.
I have
So-
to. You have to have. I might have to actually wear like a real shirt or something if Julie gets here. She's.
No, probably some things.
Oh, but you'll love her British accent.
Some shorts is gonna be better.
Julie's fun. I bet you Julie's got some great stories.
That's great.
And you know who does too? Tim Elms has some amazing stories.
Tim, well, I see Tim.
Tim's got some great
Okay,
stories.
so
Those
we
two
have
always fight each other.
We have
Tim's
like
great. Tim's great.
2 or 3 guys here.
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
So
I
maybe
would
girls
say,
come here.
I'll give
you
those
know
guys
who
a call.
has some great stories, and he's younger and great, is Adam Growitz.
I love Adam.
Adam has some fun stories.
I have fun with Adam.
Yeah, Adam is
and I-
great.
Adam and I thrown back a couple together. We have a good time. We have a good time hanging
He's
out.
the best, honestly. Like, she is so much fun. You get her talking. Laura Sanders. Oh my God. Laura's the best.
Laura's good too.
Laura's the best.
That's
she
great,
is
guys.
hysterical.
So we have some good names for
Yes.
our next episode. So if you want to vote, if you want to send us what you think is going to be the next one,
Let us
send
know who you recommend.
Yes, let us know. Our big audience here. And we have finalized our second episode here. Thank you very much,
Fantastic.
Heather.
Thank
Heather,
you
you're
guys
the
for
best.
having me.
Love you. Love
this
you.
is so much fun. I love you
Amazing.
guys.
Amazing.
Some more truth serum.
More true serum. That's great.